what's up, everybody? It's me, Stephanie R. Bridges, and you are watching from Mirror to Manuscript, where we interview amazing, prolific authors here on this show. And right now, since we first started, I've been interviewing authors that have actually worked directly with me. So we're continuing on with that. But I believe in the future we'll have some other authors on as well. So I'm super excited about when that time comes too, you guys. All right, let me sing. Okay. Word up. Hey. Word up. Hey. Word up. Hey. For real though. Get it? Like word up, word up, word up for like literary authors. Today, you guys, we have the amazing, my co-host, someone who assists me in so many endeavors, and a amazing author herself. Yes, the one and only. We have Afia Charapa in the building today. Okay, I'm on my phone, you guys, so I'm going to bring her on now. Let's see. Okay. Add to the stage. Woohoo! I did it. Hello, Afia. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm so excited to be on with you today. So please, Afia, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you so much. My name is Afia Trapa. I am 30 years old. I am originally from Accra, Ghana. Shout out to the west side of Africa. And I am a licensed social worker in the state of Ohio. And I'm also just a person who is multifaceted. I love all things youth, all things literature, all things empowerment for our people and for everybody. It's a little bit about me.
Yes, yes, yes. I love that too. Okay, guys, I had to like share the video and I'm trying to do some commenting things. I'm on my phone today. So I don't want you guys to think I'm not listening to my amazing author, but we have a few little tech things we have to do here. And so I am going to share to to my group. And then I also want to share us on one other place too that we're going to talk about. All right, so let's let us all know what made you want to become an author.
Wow, that's a deep question. I think from a child, I've always had, again, a love for literature, a love for books. I think my love for books started with, I'm going to age myself when I say this, but with the Berenstain Bears series. uh, just like that's when I really found that literature can be fun and books can, be interesting outside of like what you read for school. And, so I think as a young person in elementary school, books became like such a escape for me. The library became a great place for me.
Wow.
And I just fell in love with literature. And so as I grew up through high school, through college, I started to kind of feel like, you know, I don't see immigrants really represented in literature, like especially in children's literature. All of the characters kind of seem to, you know, look a certain way, and
Mm-hmm.
there was always some kind of like topic that didn't have anything to do with, experiences that immigrants might go through. And so I just saw a void there, and it made me want to write a series from the perspective of an immigrant, right? Because I feel like that was a topic that was not really, it was hard to find books specifically about the immigration process and about emotions surrounding immigration. And so that's what inspired me to like, I should write a children's book because there are so many kids that go through this process, but there's not a lot of representation for them. So,
Yes, 100%. I agree. Because I was just kind of thinking back as a child. I never remember reading a children's book about an immigrant child, about that experience. And then I was thinking, well, what about, as an adult, when I have children, where they're I don't, I mean, like, literally, that story is not a part of our fabric. As an African American, we know, like, sometimes, to see our voice and to see our likeness and to hear our names, it's kind of difficult. So we kind of get into those spaces and move in there and start to create. But I didn't even, and it's so crazy how self-centered we are, because I never, like, when you're talking about it right now, I never really gave it too much thought about the immigrant experience. But you're 100% right. Like, there's a vacancy there, like so I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're filling the space. I'm glad you are sharing. Yes, yes, yes. So in your writing journey with your children's books, I know it is a series of books. So kind of start us from the beginning, where we are now and where you're planning to head to.
yes, so it is a three-part series, and the first book was called The Journey of Ama Ketewa. And the first book, again, was really born out of, a necessity to see immigrants represented in literature. And so when you break down the title, it actually means, so Ama is a young woman or a girl born on Saturday in the uh, Ghanaian tradition.
Hmm.
So each day of the week has a name attached. So everybody has a specific name. So, for example, my name is Efia, and that means a young woman or a woman born on Friday, in our Ghanaian tradition. And yes, Ajwa is Monday, Abana is Tuesday. You might have heard of Yao. That's so yeah, there's so many. And so the journey of Ama Ketewa is the journey of a young woman born on Saturday who's also little. Ketewa means little, little Ama.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for sharing that cultural knowledge and history. Like, I always, okay, so I did do my ancestry, and I think I have a lot of Nigerian
Yes.
heritage.
Shout out to my sister.
Hey. And so whenever African people speak about their cultural heritage, I just take it as my own. Like, oh, thank you for sharing a little bit about me. So it's like, in you sharing about you, I learned something about me too. Like, and that wow, so I never knew that. And you said your name so beautifully. I always say Afia. Say your name again.
If yeah,
Okay, Afia.
yeah.
Okay. That is so beautiful. And she's just so laid back. She's like, okay. So I'm definitely learning a lot. So you heard that, you guys, it is a series. So you talked about like book one a little bit, in the name of where that was born out of. Now you're on book two. And
Yes.
so what is book two?
Yes. So dun, 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 dun.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Book two is called The Journey of Ama Ketewa, Ama's America.
Wow.
And so I think this book is so special to me because the first book starts in Ghana with Ama's journey, um, in her home country, right? In her life, and just talking about, what it means to be a Ghanaian, right? But then she gets news from her family that says, hey, we're making a huge transition pretty soon. And so book two follows her in that huge transition. Um,
Wow.
and I try not to hide too much, but it's called Ama's America. So you can, kind of make some guesses as to what the transition is from the title. But this is book two. And then book three will be Ama's transition back to
Mm.
her roots.
Yes, 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 yes. I love that. I love that. I think everyone longs to return home. Whether you're African, African American, every part of the African diaspora, wherever you find yourself, you know, yeah, I think we all have that in our hearts. A longing to return home. So I cannot wait to for us to get to that part in the story because we've been kind of hanging out. We've been doing some things, you know what I mean? So so you did tell us a little bit about Ama's America. Is there anything specific? I know you don't want to share too much, but is there anything specifically that like stands out in regards to book two?
I book two is so special to me. And I'm going to share a little bit. Stephanie and I shared a moment just a few minutes ago before we hopped on this call where, as an author, we put in so much work in the background that people don't often see. There's a sentiment where it's like, when you're creating something as an artist, people just see the end result, right? They don't
Mm,
necessarily see the work, the tears, the emotion, the setbacks, the like organization that goes into what you're producing as an artist. So, um, to not get too lost, right? The answer to your question is I think this book is special because there was so much emotion and so much of my artistic self, so much
mhm,
vulnerability put into the book. And I think that when readers pick it up, especially children, I my hope and my wish is that they will see the love and the effort and the vulnerability that I put into book two,
mhm.
because I really feel that I stepped into myself as an artist second go round, if that makes sense.
Yes, that definitely makes sense. And I know that, you always had in your mind the three-book series, but I believe, you first started working on this one in 2023, like when we
Mm-hmm.
were doing the cohort and everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Life gets in the way. It's like, can I do this? What are the steps? Again, all of that work that goes into the background, and before you know it, 2 years is up, and I'm like, this year book two has to come out. I will not let 2026 sneak up on me without getting book two. You've been waiting, Stephanie. Like, what you mean, Ophia? Write the book.
yes.
What's going on? We've been waiting. You said it was a series. What's going on? We only got book one, and you steady pushing book one. Where's book two?
We done bought book one. Like, we got
Right.
book one up here. Like,
Yeah. So, and not to toot my own horn, but I mean, book one is still selling. But
yes, 100%. 100%. And speaking of selling, so I have the QR code there for anybody who's interested in purchasing book two. That is the QR code, book two. But if you use that QR code, it will take you to Amazon and you will see book one as well. So you can get book two, book one, you can get the paperback, you can get the ebook. It's all going to be there for you. But people can also get book two. Tell them when and where.
Yes, we are doing a book to launch party. Oh my goodness, it's going to be so amazing. So it's going down November 30th in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
The exact address is, let me pull it up. It's Bridge Walk. So should have had this pulled up, but let me get the exact address for the people. me see. Um,
And Afia, she has been posting and sharing. We have an event in Facebook and everything. So
yeah,
you will be able to find more information. It's going to be on Sunday, November the 30th.
30th.
It's going to start at 1:30.
Mhm. 2890 Bridgewalk Street, Columbus, Ohio, 43224. That is the exact address of our book launch for book two. It's going to be an amazing event. It's going to be packed. There's going to be food, music, a book reading, and all things literature. But it's going to be absolutely amazing. And I'm so excited.
Yes, yes, yes. It's going to be a great time. I'm so super excited too. So we would love, love, love for people to come out again. Food, family, fun. It's just going to be an amazing good time. Come out and meet Afia. Get your book signed by the author.
Yeah.
Yes, and I will be in the building as well. Yeah. So, yeah,
Yes.
it's going to be an amazingly good time. So, I hope everyone is able to come out to that. And then also, I wanted to just kind of go back to what you're saying now. You did talk about, and this kind of correlates a little bit with your life, but you did kind of talk about, okay, Ama Ketwa, and that is like a little girl born on a Saturday. Okay,
Yep.
okay,
Yes.
and so you talked about, from the start, the immigration experience, but part of your movement that you have, your mission, is kind of combining what and what. So tell the people about the big picture and what you want to see.
Yes. So if you all have not kind of put it together yet, I am Ama Ketewa, right? And so the book series is based upon my life story. I immigrated here from Ghana when I was 5 years old. And so part of my larger mission is just to give voice to immigrant children. One of the things Stephanie asked at the very beginning was tell us a little bit about yourself. And one of the things I said is I have a heart for the youth.
Mm-hmm.
I spent um, 5+ years working in the education system, everything from the freedom schools, if anybody knows about that, to working in schools as a social worker intern, to babysitting. So it's just, I love kids, I love the youth. And one of my biggest missions in life is to give them a voice. So part of that is creating literature that centers immigrants,
Mm-hmm.
having conversations that, push immigration as a positive aspect of our society, and then continuing to just allow the youth to have avenues to tell their own stories,
Mm-hmm.
whether that be through artistic expression, whether that be through literature, or whether that just be through representation, like just
Yes.
being yourself, and giving them space to do that. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, okay, 100%. I did not think that was what you were gonna say. But because I was like, I know that you talk a lot about, since you've been here since you were 5 years old, like you're very like American too. Like
Mhm.
equal. And
Yeah.
so I've heard you speak before about, and talking about the diaspora and diaspora wars, and people not understanding one another, just kind of wanting to be a bridge, and make sure that African Americans and Americans and Africans here in America, vice versa, that we all have a better understanding of one another and our different perspectives, and how we view things and different things like that. So.
Yeah. Because, Stephanie, to be honest, there is no separation except for geography,
Mhm.
right? And one of my biggest things that I always say to people is come to Africa. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? If you have the opportunity to expose yourself to the land, all of those conversations about, differences and, like just all the just little things that we think about each other, it dies away when you
Mhm.
come to the land and you experience it and you recognize that collard greens is just contomre and rice is just jambalaya, and it's all connected,
Mhm.
and it's so beautiful when we start to see that, because I am African, but I am also American. And I just, that bridge is so important to me.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. So, okay, so I met you, and I think we talked about this before in Las Vegas. You know, we're like, we both have, worked with Joy Lynn M. Ross, which she's from Columbus, Ohio. She's in Vegas now. She kind of moved on, but
Mhm.
she's in Vegas now. But we still have so much love for her
Moved on
in the
up.
capital city. Yes, yes, yes. And so many of us have connected because of our connection to her. But since that time, I've worked closely with a lot of Pathfinders.
Mhm.
Um, but I think I work most closely with you because we've worked on a number of different projects, like book projects, but also my cohort, and now you're my co-host here on From Mirror to Manuscript. So
Yeah.
if you ever see somebody popping in or popping on in the end, or people are like highlighting different comments and different things like that, it is definitely a Fia who is like really running the show behind the scenes. I see Latrina said, hey Latrina, how are you doing? Okay, and my comments are in there too. If you want to highlight those, the different links. But tell us, what has it been like um, working with me as far as the writing, publishing process is concerned? We'll start with that.
Oh, I'm gonna get emotional. Okay. All right. So honestly, working with you has changed my life. Um, and it has been such an amazing experience because when I first met you in Vegas, it was because you were the star of that, like that first, season of Path to Publishing and that conference. Like literally, like we all were just hearing about you and how you got there and your grant book. And it was just like, I need to be connected to this human because what? Like she has turned, literature into her life, and like, and just from that moment on I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be connected, I'm gonna figure out a way. And from that point, every single project that we worked on when it comes to publishing has been amazing. Stephanie, you are the best in the business, and I mean that with every fiber of my chest. Like, you are amazing. And it's not just like you go, it's not a small thing to you. Every single project that we work on, you put your heart and your soul into, whether it's the cohort, whether it's helping people edit books, whether it's publishing, everything. Your attention to detail is insane. And in the best way. Like, there's so much I could say, but you just truly are a professional. And I hope that you know that. And I hope that you never ever forget or doubt how much of an expert you are in this field, because I say that, I speak for a lot of people when I say this, our books would not be possible without you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that and saying that. I 100%, 100%. appreciate that. And I also want to say, like, sometimes, people will reach out to me and they'll, say, I'm working on this or I'm doing that. And not everything like connects or
Mhm.
it's like my radar might be a little like sketchy. Like I'm like, oh, okay, just but I feel like it was just some point that you reached. I was like, let me contact her, let me talk to her, and then we just start talking and we start working together. I think initially it was like more like the grant and the business kind of side of it. But then I was like, well, since we're doing that, I want to help you with, any book stuff and everything like that. I'm kind of work with that. And then you're very techy. So I was like, oh, cool,
Yes.
cool. So
Yes.
when I started the cohort, I had the best. I had Nicole Carter, who did our like promotions and everything like that. And then I had Afia, who was like our tech person, and I kind of help people on that side. But you really have and everything you do, you make everybody feel special. So that's what I love, and that's what I try to do. Like anytime I'm working with a client, or anytime I'm hosting an event, or anytime I'm public, facing, I just want to make sure that the people that I come in contact with, um, you know how grateful I am just to have them show up, to come out, to be a part of it. Just wanting people to feel comfortable and have fun and know that they can share the spotlight or have the spotlight and that type of thing. And you embody that as well, 100%. Like there's never been time where no one's at, how everybody talk about everybody. I mean, people talk about me. I know it. I know it. It's good, y'all. It's good. I got to give them something to talk about. I have never heard anybody complain or say, well, she rolled her eyes, or, oh, I try to, like, no, like, you are just the best. And so when I was telling you about this, I think we were working on book two. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna start interviewing folk, and I'm, because I have a million and one little endeavors and stuff.
Mhm.
You were like, mm.
Hey.
you were like, you were like, you want me to come on and help you? I was like, and yeah, and do, and does, and please.
Yes.
So you just be rocking with me and like doing all the things, and I just hope I'm that person for you. I know people say like, oh well, you need mentors and you need to mentor people and all that stuff. And I'm I know I'm neurodivergent, okay? So you know that I'm neurodivergent. So I know my window of working with people and assist and doing all the things. So I never like put myself out there like, oh, I'm a, bring some people under my wing or blah 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 blah. But if there was anyone I felt like this is the homie, whatever I got, whatever I can do, whatever I can show, whatever I can help with, like you are that stunner.
Yeah.
So I just want you to know how much I love you. Look, this wasn't supposed to be that. And yo, wait a minute. Okay, so I do have to share this. Okay, so before we got on, Afia called me, and I'm like, okay, she called me. She called me, and I'm like, I'm like, it's what's wrong? What's going on? And she's like crying, but she's crying tears of joy. I'm like, what? So she's crying tears of joy because of her amazing book and just how great it looks. Like, oh, and let me say this, like you said, like you guys, we don't know the behind the scenes and everything like that. I barely even have book launches. I'm going to be at Kwanzaa on December
Mhm.
27th, and I was like, oh, when I'm going to sell some calendars. I'm gonna call this my book launch. Now these calendars have been out 2 years, you guys. I was like, I'm gonna just say this is my book launch. I don't even be having book launch. When I tell you how much time, how much effort, how much energy, how much money Afia has invested And not just her book, but her people just coming out and celebrating. With every idea, she's thinking about the community. She's thinking about the people. Well, what time would they come? What would they like to eat? What were they expecting to see? Like, that is ingrained in her. I'm like, give the people water and apple juice. I do not care. But now I feel like you guys. So please come out. If you're not able to come out, please purchase our book. Use that QR code. Use the link. Post those links and different things up there. Use the link, you guys. Buy her book. Support her. If you want, authors to really be able to, be indie and share their voices and tell their stories and fill in that empty space that are out there, then we definitely have to support. And I'm going to be there with bells on. I'm going to make some people come. You know how certain people you can just make them come. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be like, you better show up. So I'm going to be making some people come. But if you're one of the people that I'm not going to make come, please, I'm just asking you guys, it's going to be a party. It's going to be.
Listen, live, okay? Live and in person. You all, this is so important to me because Stephanie said something in the past. We were at a book launch. We were at a holiday book
Mhm.
launch for our cohort. Was that last year or the year before?
20, I think, 20, end of 2023 or the end of
Yeah,
2020, end of 2023. It was
yeah, yeah,
2023.
yeah.
It's December.
Right. And you said something. You said literature is the thing that we can use to leave a legacy for our children. And when I tell you from that moment on, it clicked with me so hard because we were having an intense conversation about business and investment and how we are why we're doing what we're doing. And you said that to kind of wrap it all up. And I was like, wow, yes. And
Yeah.
so it's so much more than just a launch to me. Every event that we do together is an opportunity for me to leave a legacy and for anybody in the future to kind of see how much the community means to me. Because again, these stories aren't told if we don't tell
Mm, that part.
them. We steady waiting on somebody else. We wait. Hey, Oprah, when your next book coming? I got more in touch with Stephanie than I do with Oprah, and I would read Stephanie's book because like
Right.
we got
Right.
other stories. No shade to Oprah. I love you. If you
Yeah,
see
mute
this,
Oprah. Hey, I don't know what she talking about. Like,
I love you. If you see this podcast, hit me up. Hit me up.
hit me up.
Team at journeyofama.com. www.journeyofama.com.
Oprah, Gail, Stedman. What's up?
Yeah, Beyonce, send me some sacred drops. I need them. Sponsor.
Ah, I know that's right. And your book is brilliant and amazing, and it's so worthy of being on every shelf next to, every other book. We were talking to, you did mention if we were to travel to the motherland, if we ever get the opportunity to travel to the motherland. So tell us about your travel. Like, you came here when you were 5, your ability to, go back and, that type of thing, and how that has been. What's that experience been like?
Yes. And so when I immigrated here when I was 5, obviously you go through school, elementary school, middle school, high school, and you don't get very many opportunities because you're broke to travel to Africa. You know what I mean? So there hasn't been many times in my life during that period where I was going back to Ghana. So at one point, I had graduated high school, started college at Columbus State, and then started school at OSU. And I'm like, at what point am I going to go back home? And I think it had been 12 plus years
Mm,
at some
mm-hmm.
point where I hadn't been home in 12 plus years. And I was like, there is no way. So in 2023, after my master's and after, all of school and working a little bit to get some money, I finally went home after 12 plus years. And ever since, I've been addicted to going back to Africa because it's just something about the air. Like when you get off the plane and that hot air hits you and you just smell the air of Africa and Ghana, it's just
Mm,
does something for my soul. So I want to go back as often as possible just to reconnect with my family, reconnect with the land, reconnect with myself. But it is really tough. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's easy. That ticket is $2,000 plus. Um,
mm-hmm.
and there's you got to get vaccines and yellow fever, and there's some things you have to do to prepare yourself. But again, I would encourage anybody who's willing to put in a little bit of that work
Mm-hmm.
to go and experience that, because it's such a soul reset for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
honestly, yeah.
Yes, it's definitely what I want to do. And I've been saying that like for the
Mhm.
longest. But I really do need to just, put in some effort and say, okay, are you going to, you need to start saving. You need to start putting a little bit away, at a time.
Yeah.
And I know you said, you would assist, like, as far as, I can hang out with you and
Yeah,
go
let's
with you,
go.
which is,
Let's
a
go.
beautiful opportunity as well. But that is something that's very important to me. It's like the only place, that before I go, that's the one place outside of the United States that I definitely want to be
Yeah.
first and foremost.
And
Um,
there are ways, right? Buy your ticket early. You know what I mean? Buy
mhm,
it early in the year. After the holidays when things kind of slow down for everybody and they're going back home and back into corporate life, that's when the ticket prices go down. So you can get a ticket for 1,500, 1,300. It goes down a little bit, but during the holidays it's like at 2,000 plus. But like there's little tricks that you can use to make the process easier.
mhm,
um,
mhm,
and there are organizations, you just have to find a reputable organization that can do tours and help you with the on the ground transition and get you to the right tourist spots and make sure that you're safe. So looking for those types of organizations that are really professional and have the right types of connections on the ground, depending on what country you're going to, whether it's Nigeria, whether it's Ghana, whether it's South Africa or wherever, right? Um, there are different ways to make it um, attainable and
yeah,
accessible, right? And so don't let like other people's experiences, or they'll say, oh, you get there and da da da, but have your own experience, do your own
mhm.
research, because everybody's experience will be different, and the more you prepare, the better your experience will be.
Yes, yes, 100%. And I feel like she's talking to y'all, not me, because I'm going.
Yes.
Look, I'm going. And I've never heard anybody say they had a negative experience traveling to the motherland. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like actually going home to the motherland.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, but we all, that's something we all should do. I think we should all do our ancestry
Mm,
um as well, not just for the fact I was saying I have a lot of Nigerian heritage and ancestry, and I can't remember everything else.
mhm,
But also, just connection. This is totally off subject, but family connections. You never know
Yeah.
who you might be related to or not related to, and so you find your family members and different things like that when you do your ancestry. So especially for adults, if there's like people who you're like, oh well, I'm wondering about siblings or different family members. I really encourage everybody to do your ancestry, do your DNA, because it's just it's just a special feeling just to learn more and more about yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So I do want to say that we know the Journey of Ama Ketewa is a three-part series.
Mhm.
So we know you're going to be working on your third book eventually. We're going to have this great launch and experience all the things. Is there any other writing you're planning on doing or thinking about doing?
Well, Stephanie, you told me I need to write a chapter book. So, and when Stephanie puts something out in the air, you just do it. And so,
I wish it worked like that. Thank you for saying that. But
yeah, because I mean, ever since that point, I'm like, oh dang, I gotta do it now. I gotta write a chapter book. But yes, now that I've gone through this process twice, I'm an author, and one of the things that Joy Lynn taught us is once you write a book, you got to write another one. And once you write another book, then you become an author and you don't stop writing. And so I think this year has been a really good year of transition mentally for me, because even through the cohort, we talked about grounding yourself in your identity as an author. We all wrote those social media posts. I am an author. And I really, that affirmation has become a part of who I am. So I'm never going to stop writing. I'm not going to stop writing. Not all of it will be published for public consumption, but I really have, embraced the identity of a writer and an author. And so it's going to keep coming and it's going to be beautiful. And I'm going to keep writing. So,
yes, yes, yes. We all have such amazing stories,
mhm.
and just sitting down, you shared some things with me about your life, and I'm always gobsmacked. I mean, everybody's life is interesting to me. I'm like, what? For
Mhm.
real?
Mhm.
Huh? So, like I'm always encouraging people to share because oftentimes when we write, and this is, my belief, we think, like we're writing for ourselves, but most of the times we're writing for someone else. And usually we're writing for someone else that we'll never meet, will never see, will
Yes.
never have the opportunity to come in contact with. But
Yes.
our words will just impact them in such an amazing way. They'll be able to, see themselves in our stories
Yes.
and see um some of the outcomes, like you were talking about the degrees and the master's degrees and the MSW
Mhm.
and, being a licensed therapist and just helping people in those in different ways and the tech certifications and,
Mhm.
and being an author and just all the different things that sometimes when we're living it does, it's just like we're living it, like, day to
Like,
day.
dang, I did all that.
Right, 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 right. But when you hear it from another perspective, you're like, huh, that's me. That's
Yeah, I do got a couple certs, don't I? I got a couple degrees. Dang, I forgot.
me. Yeah, a couple books.
Yeah, a couple
Hmm.
books. Man, wow. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I just think I think that more people, I love children's books. I love to learn from children's books. I think they're amazing. But I also love memoirs and,
Mhm.
stories like that because I really do think they are helpful for adults, but especially for young people who can kind of find themselves in different people's stories, who think, you know, like where I'm at right now and what's surrounding me right now is the end all be all, that type of thing. And it's definitely not the case. We have an opportunity to kind of shape our lives and and shape who we are and shape who we become, and that's for all of us. And that's not to say like any as a youth or at your start is like started from the bottom, now we're here, started, what I'm saying, now the whole team's here. It's not to even say that. I mean, you could have started from the top and had like an amazing life, and but still you have to have the connection and the wherewithal to say, okay, what am I going to do with my part? Whether I've been gifted a lot or gifted a little, what am I going to do with my part? And I think that's the story, and that's the journey, and what we can share with other people.
I don't know, but you just started preaching. I don't know if you know. You just started preaching. No, because it is so it is so true. Um, as somebody who's working in the mental health field, you see everybody from, the highest of the high to people who are just trying to figure it out. And there's a common theme of I feel, what is my purpose? What am I here for? What am I working towards? And so I think literature has a great way of helping us to discover those things without having to, put ourselves all the way out there, because vulnerability is something that is learned, right? And
Hmm.
so children's books and memoirs and biographies are a great way of putting your story out there so that somebody else can learn from you, learn from your successes as well as learning from your mistakes. And because of your story, somebody might make a decision in their life that impacts the next person. And it is such an amazing experience, but it comes at a cost. You have to be vulnerable, right? Even those children's books, they come from a place of like, how much of my experience should I put in this, child audience book? You know what I mean? Like, we've all been through some stuff, but it's like, like the immigrant journey is not all sunshine and rainbows. So like, how deep do I go into
Hmm.
the struggles of we have to leave our homeland, right? And
Hmm.
even African Americans, how deep do we go into our roots and how we got to America?
Right.
From a child's perspective, like, hey, that's a lot. What you did on the boat, like, and so it comes from a place of vulnerability. But I think one of the things that I've learned about myself is if I don't put myself out there and I don't become vulnerable and I don't express that, then somebody else won't have the opportunity to learn from that and to experience that and to see themselves represented even in that children's book.
Yes, yes, I 100% agree, and I love that you're using the term vulnerability because
Mm,
it brings to mind two things. I just had a conversation with someone who's interested in writing their story, and they asked like how much they should tell, and I'm like, well, for people interested in, and they were asking like from the reader's perspective, like how much is too much. I was like, well, if a person is interested in reading memoirs,
mm,
they gonna eat it all up. Like you can put it all out there. They gonna be like, what, huh? And
mm,
then what? And turn the page. Like as readers, we're ready. We want to know.
mm,
But as writers, it happens so much. And I just want to share this. I've worked with writers. I've seen writers who are vulnerable
mm,
in their pages, and sometimes they can't handle it.
mm,
Sometimes they go a little bit too far for themselves,
mm,
not for the reader, but for themselves or for their family. And so, they get to the finish line and they kind of stop, or they publish the book and they don't want anybody to read it. They
mm,
don't want to talk about it. So, like you said, sometimes you're doing writing that's for yourself and not
mm,
necessarily for the public.
mm,
But that is something I just want everyone to sit with, because I in my writing, that's my opportunity to be vulnerable, because I ain't telling you nothing. I mean, sometimes I might find myself get caught up in a conversation. I'll be like, dang, I done said too much. You know what I'm saying? But 9 times out of 10, you not really get much from me. But if you read one of my books or, something like that, I feel like I can be more vulnerable on the page. But I did like a book of poetry, and I kind of started out sharing a little bit of my story. But I don't tell, it might be like 50%. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? You ain't like,
Mhm.
I did not tell, I didn't over expose myself. And I'm saying that to say there's no overexposure. It's
Mhm.
just what you can handle. And
Yeah.
that's what you have to do internally. That's what you have to do through prayer. That's what you have to do with your therapist, or talking to somebody that you really trust. Say, you know what, I want to share, I want to tell my story, I want to help, but how much am I ready for? What can I do? Because I just don't like to see when people feel like, oh my goodness, I've said too much or I've done too much, and not saying it's your story, not saying from other people around you's perspective, but from your own perspective. But
Yeah.
it is true. It is you. We are being very vulnerable. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yes. And I will say this from a therapist perspective, that's what I do for my 9 to 5, my job, right?
Hmm.
I find that when we are doing therapy work, when you come to therapy with something on your heart that you want to work through, whether it's trauma from your past, whether it's anxiety, whether it's depression, whether it's even like PTSD and other things that you're dealing with, I always begin with, let me help you feel safe. Let's not start with the story. Let's not start with tell me all your trauma. Let me not start with just give me everything. What happened with your daddy and what happened with your
And what? And then what? And then what?
because you know what? You won't come back.
Hmm.
Real talk, you will not come back, right? And so as a therapist, we are trained to begin with safety,
Hmm.
right? What can I do in this space to make you feel safe? What can I do in this space to help you build rapport? Which is, what can I do to help us get to know each other?
Hmm.
And sometimes I think as authors, we skip that part. We want to write the memoir, we want to get deep, we want to write all of our stuff, but we forget to ease into the story,
Hmm.
right? Make people feel safe as they're reading, and then you can get into the nitty gritty. You can get into, the message of your book. But it's important for yourself. Like, am I safe
Yes.
enough to tell this story?
Mm.
Do I feel balanced enough emotionally to begin this work? Because if you don't, that's when you get into chapter 3, and then Stephanie don't hear from you again. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like you
Mhm.
get into chapter 7, and all of a sudden your phone is off, and it's like and it's difficult, and
That
so yeah.
Yeah, that is so true. I love that you said that about the safety part. I always, and I'm guilty, you guys. I'm guilty. I always, tell people, you can only share as much, as you can share. Like, and that's up to you individually. So sometimes, I'm speaking to someone, and maybe they're just telling me something or they're writing something, and I'm like, okay, dude, this is part of the book. So I'm, like, yeah, let me edit it. Let me tweak that part so it give a little more punch. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
they'll go back and read the manuscript and say, wait a minute now, what you say about mama? I'm like, I'm like, that's what you had said. And they like, nah, sis,
Yeah, hold on. This can't go to the public. What? Yeah,
right. You need to edit that out. So I do. I definitely listen to my clients and edit it out. But yeah, on the other side of it, as the reader, as the editor, I'm like, oh, what happened?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. But it is important, like that safety. I don't have an MSW, guys. I'm
Mhm.
not. I'm not a licensed therapist. So but it is so important, and it is so true, and that's why it takes longer. Some
Mhm.
people are, write their books and they're ready to go. Some people write their books and then they're like, wait, oh, let's edit, let's ooh, and you got to kind of go back a little bit, but
First, second, and third edition.
that's why I'm working with, one of our clients I'm still working with now from 2023. Like, it'd be the same chapters remixed. I was like, okay, bro,
Hey,
I got you.
as,
The
as
remix part three. Like,
as long as you keep writing, okay?
yes.
No judgment.
No judgment, no judgment whatsoever. Because and I say that 100% no judgment because I couldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't tell it all. There is no way in the world you would get me. Uh-uh. Nah, I'm gonna give you about 50% off rip. The rest of it, I ain't saying nothing to nobody. I don't know. Like, it's just like,
Mm, mm, mm.
so. Yeah. So, is there anything we didn't get a chance to talk about that you would love to share with people?
I feel like we covered a lot. One of the things I would like to say is if you have a book on your heart, if you have something you want to write, don't be afraid, right? Because literature and words are something that will never ever die, never ever go away. And it is so important at this time in our country. Hey, I'm gonna take it there for
Let's
us
go.
to be, for us to be truthful, for us to write and say the things that are not being said. Right? They are trying to strip. I sound like a conspiracy series, a conspiracy theorist, but they are trying to, redact us and take
Mm-hmm.
away, DEI and so many programs and, you know, organizations for literature are losing grants and nobody is feeling steady and safe right now. But this is the time where it's important for us to continue to write, continue to speak, continue to work on our dreams
Yeah.
because
Yes.
if we don't, there's never going to be a time such as this. And people are going to be looking back and saying, who was there during this time?
Mm.
Post COVID, our government is shut down, is back up the next day, is shut down the next day. Our food stamps are here one day, gone the next. Who was still working? Who was still speaking? Who was still showing up during this time? And what were the stories being told at this time? And I think it's very important for anybody who has a story on their heart to know that you are important. Your story is important. The things that you want to say during this time are important. And I'll leave it there.
Yes, 100%. Okay, just remind the people where we're going to be at on Sunday, November the 30th, and then also where people can find you, on the social medias and everything.
Yes, yes, yes. So, official Ama's America book launch is going to be at 2890 Bridgewalk Street, Columbus, Ohio, 43224. There's going to be ample parking, ample food, ample music, and books to go all around. So, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be fun, and I hope to see you all there. If you are doubting if this event is for you, trust me, it is for you. If you're listening to the playback, if you're wondering, like, children's book, like, check it out. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at the people you can network with, the people you'll see there. And you may even write your own story after being, in that kind of a space. So you can find me at Afia Trapa on all platforms, Ketewa Storytelling on Instagram, and I am on Facebook, Afia Trapa. My website is www.journeyofama.com, and I am always available to have a conversation. Email me. I am ready to talk.
Yeah. All right. All right. All right. Well, thank you all for hanging out with me and Afia. It has been so amazing hanging out with you guys and with her as well. If I didn't respond to all the comments and everything, it's because I am on my phone and not on my laptop. I can barely even see you guys. I'm just like leaning in, like. But this has been a great conversation, and I'm looking forward to the next one. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys all on Sunday, November 30th at the book launch. We are out.
Bye, everyone.